2026 will be like, this is your last chance to get honest with where your heart wants to go. What is the real contribution you're meant to make while you're here? Are you brave enough to step into it? Are you brave enough to step into the unknown? Are you brave enough to do something even if you think it's not going to make you a ton of money, but it's going to be enough to cover your means? Are you brave enough to do that?
Welcome to the Danette May Show, where you'll receive profound breakthroughs, courage to break old patterns, and live into your soul's purpose. Each week, I will bring you epic guests and live coaching to remind you of your power. You have the ability to achieve extraordinary things, and the time to start is now.
Hello, everyone, and hello, Gregorian calendar 2026 and season 3 of the Danette May Show. And I'm laughing because I don't even know how season 3 got here. I legitimately thought we were on season 2 of the Danette May Show, and somehow my team kept saying, no, this is season 3. I don't argue because I can't keep track of dates. I can't keep track of what year we're in. There was a time in 2025 that I was saying 2027, and sometimes I'd say 2023. So here we are, guys. I am definitely hiking with you. It is fresh of the year for the Gregorian calendar. And I want to, on this episode, really share personally where I'm at and to share what I'm up to and also my predictions, what I think collectively and potentially personally for you will be going on in 2026. So last year I did a prediction show. So go check out January of 2024, 2025. Look for that prediction, or maybe my team can link it in the show notes below. See if any of those predictions happen. I actually should go back and listen because I'm just tapping into spirit to say, hey, can you show me what I can prepare for, or what do I need to share with the community about what may be coming ahead and how people can navigate it? Because I believe we're privy to this information if we ask. Some of us can get it a little easier. And for me, I have been cultivating a ritual every single morning where I'm dropping into spirit, not because I don't feel spirit is around me, but because I want to tune in to learn how to listen even better, to build that relationship with the unseen world, and to build that relationship with my inner connection with the unseen world and these other dimensions. And so that is why I have my morning practice. And this is where that information comes from, is that morning practice of tuning in and asking, offering prayer every single day, meditation every single day. If you guys want to know, 2025 towards the end of the year, starting in September, with that eclipse closing out, life decided to sock me some past pain points. And it showed up with my kids. It showed up with my ex. It showed up in these forms of legalities with my ex. And it took me for a little bit of a ride. I started off really strong actually in 2025. When I say strong, I mean just feeling like, whoa, life is so magical. And yes, it still is. But the end of 2025, I had to meet off and work with clearing out energies within myself of attachments I've held on to from my past. Because when you get triggered with them, that's your opportunity to clear it out. Because if you cleared it out, then you're not so triggered. So I'm happy to report that I'm less triggered by my ex. I've worked through it over the past few months and I'm in a deeper place of trust. But what happens, and I'm sure this happens for a lot of you, this is where I'm mostly grateful for all the triggers that took, precedence starting in September, is because it took me to my morning prayer like full force. There was no, I can't do this, or sloughing it off for sleep, or saying I'm too busy, or I don't feel like it. It was like, this is mandatory. I'm in the thick of it. And I'm so grateful because it brought me closer to spirit. It brought me closer to these gifts that I have within myself to be able to work with this quantum, the metaphysical, and shift timelines. And that's exactly what I did. And I'm so, so grateful for that. So I want to just share what that morning routine looks like that I am continuing to do into 2026 and into this season 3. And I want to say welcome to the show. Welcome. I don't know how many of you are new, how many of you have been with me from the beginning, but wherever you are at, just welcome. And thank you for taking these walks with me, being in the studio with me when I'm interviewing guests and we have cameras and lights on us, and just the everyday of me walking in nature and talking with you through my headphones. So thank you. Appreciate it. Love you. You subscribing, you following the show, you sharing the show, you rating the show, all of it does not go unnoticed, because doing a podcast is no easy feat. And doing a podcast consistently is no easy feat. One, it could cost a lot of money. It's a lot of time. There's a lot of people involved. There's a lot of editing and uploading and team and ads and figuring out how to make it work. So I just want to say thank you for all of you who've left or reviewed or followed, because you can't sustain a podcast without it. You just can't. And that's why you see so many podcasts pop up and then leave. because it is a lot of energy. It's a lot of effort to just show up, sometimes raw, vulnerable, pay for a film crew, pay for a camera crew, pay for, your team to edit and to upload. And there's just so many intricacies to a podcast. So just once again, thank you so much. I'll just share some of my morning rituals really quick lately. And that is I get up before the sun comes up and I go straight into what I call my Zen den. And it can be any place in your own home. That's a place where you set up a candle, or it can be a fireplace, but I always say some form of fire. You've got well, if you're into crystals, or you have a picture of an ancestor, you have a feather, you have something that just makes you feel closer to what you believe in, or to the spirit realm, or to this higher power within yourself. Put that there, have that in your space. You can either pull it out or it can automatically be set up, but I have my space and it's my sacred space. And I sit there, and I actually have lately, what I've been doing to pull back my power, because like I said, September through December rocked me with stuff from my ex and from my children and the things that they were facing. And so I had to sit there and pull back my power, connect with a higher power, connect with God, and also connect with my inner power, right? So I would sit and write down in the morning. I had written down in my journal, like, all the things that I wanted to see happen as if it already happened. And I've talked about this formula before, and it's really, really potent. Wrote it all out. And I would read it every single morning. And then I would do this really special ritual and prayer where I was connecting to the four corners, connecting to above and to below and to my heart center, and calling back my power. So this is something that I was doing. I was also doing this very profound meditation that I've only shared with the women that have come to healing experiences, because it's just too powerful, too potent, too sacred for me to share on a podcast. So the healing experience women who have traveled with me and done deep, profound healings know about this one, but it's all about really taking on the energy of being the creator and co-creating with a higher power, and using your breath, using your visualization, using this energy field to create from. And I did that, and I did it with a friend, and I saw things happen fast. And so doing that really showed me how quick I can shift a timeline, how quick I can shift maybe something I would label negative, like something like a legal document or being sued, or I don't know, maybe your kid's not talking to you, or maybe something you need to shift it quick. I watched as within days things shift. So I do know the power of this. I do know the magic of it. And I'm so, so grateful. So I do that. And then I might write a little bit more in my journal. I do a gratitude list. I offer a prayer. I do some breath work. And then I leave the space. So for me, this is a time to show spirit that I'm serious, that I want to connect, that I want to work with spirit, that I want to be able to hear what I may not be able to hear with my human ears, that I want to open my heart more. So that's really what I've done every single morning. And I've watched miracles happen. And I know that it can happen in your own life too. And it doesn't have to look just like mine, but just starting with a prayer and some gratitude and drinking some blessed water in the morning. When I say blessed water, I fill up my water bottle at night, and then I sprinkle sea salt in it at night, and then let it sit. And sometimes I'll write affirmations underneath it of what I want to see happen underneath the bottle on paper, and I'll drink that water. And there's already been so many studies about the power of water. And if you want to watch any of my YouTubes around it to exactly know how to do that ritual, we'll link that YouTube below on how you really work with water. You write the certain sayings, you place it under a water bottle. I'm telling you, this also is very powerful medicine that you can actually do. So choosing what works for you, but knowing that this will help open up your access to your own intuition and your access to creator, and to just draw back your power when you feel a little lost, or you feel like, like you just need to shift some timelines. So I've been doing that. And as I'm stepping into 2026, I'll just say that yes, as a collective, we've all agreed that this is 2026 on our calendars. I wrote this morning, January 2nd, 2026, but you're probably listening to this a week later. But I do know astrologically that the new year really begins February 17th. And I celebrated last year with the new year being January 29th, 2025. And this year it's February 17th. So in my mind, I'm still in the shedding phase. I'm still in the year of completion of what I've been releasing and what has been at play. And that my momentum most likely will start more in February. So because I do believe in following those natural energy lines, just like the moon controls the tides. I think we're no different. I think we're all in these astrological momentums, and why not use it as an asset versus against you? But let's talk about what I see is coming and how this could affect your life. And what I do know before I share any, what we might call a prediction, is one, I don't like to say I'm a self-proclaimed psychic. I do feel that I receive visions or knowings about things and they happen. It's not something I do as a paid thing, but here I am just going to share what's coming through. But I do know we all have freedom of choice. We all are shifting timelines as we see fit, depending on our rituals, depending on our belief systems. So take it or leave it. And of course, if you want to stay in old patterns that are repeating themselves, by all means, you still will. So it won't pertain to you if you are not willing to open your eyes, to humble yourself, to get honest with yourself. I think that's the biggest thing, is that most of us are not willing to be honest with ourselves. We're not really willing to be honest about our relationships, because then it might mean that we're going to be alone. So we tolerate subpar situations in our relationships versus communicating, putting our foot down, saying no more, walking away. We just put up with things and we wonder why things keep repeating themselves. We do this in jobs. We do this with the friends that we keep. We do this with money. A lot of people have money stories constantly. I hear it over and over again. But what are you doing differently to change your money story? What are you doing differently physically in your relationship to money? Are you responsible with it? Are you hoarding it? Do you always feel like you're in lack? Are you constantly trying to save when it's not really appropriate to save? Or are you overspending when it's not really appropriate to overspend? So that's for you to determine. But I always encourage to get very real with the truth of where you're at. Truly, like if you keep seeing a pattern in money, pattern in relationships, pattern with your health, pattern with your job situation, that's on you. That's a pattern for you to look at and go, where can I shift this pattern? Where do I need to take ownership and accountability that I created this pattern? And yes, it usually involves somebody else that's bothering you or you feel this inflicting pain, but you are. You are. And your body is this massive antenna that is going to communicate with you. It's going to communicate with you with aches and pains in your body, indigestions, but in particular your gut. You're going to have indigestion issues, digestion issues, bloating, all these things, irritable bowel syndrome, especially if you're around people that you do not feel safe with. So I believe as we move into 2026, it's going to be paramount that we get very, very honest with what is actually going on around us. And if we don't, we will experience really extreme sicknesses or ailments in our bodies. There'll be like a surgery that needs to take place out of nowhere. You'll be getting sick out of nowhere. You'll be saying statements like, I never get this sick. I don't ever experience these things. How is this happening to me right now? And you might think, oh, I contracted it from someone. No, your immunity got brought down because you're out of alignment. You're maybe overgiving, overworking, overstriving, and not listening to your soul's truth. Same goes for relationships. If you're staying in a relationship where you don't feel peace in your body, you're irritable, you're walking on eggshells, you feel like you're always a little like on your toes, ready for something to crash, ready to, like your nervous system isn't relaxed, it is going to affect your health. It is going to affect your dreams and the things you step into, because your body is expending so much energy for the relationship that you're trying to manage because you're afraid to be alone. The other thing is you're going to experience job loss or money loss or this feeling of unsteadiness in the career money realm if you're not living into your soul's purpose. I truly think that we're going to get a massive shakeup around security in the job force, which I already think started 2024, 2025. We got a big shakeup. I think it was been going on for about 5 years. But 2026 will be like, this is your last chance to get honest with where your heart wants to go. What is the real contribution you're meant to make while you're here? And are you brave enough to step into it? Are you brave enough to step into the unknown? Are you brave enough to do something, even if you think it's not going to make you a ton of money, but it's going to be enough to cover your means? Are you brave enough to do that? Are you brave enough not to buy all the mocha loca lattes every single week and that big vacation that really doesn't feed your soul, or that new couch or that remodeled kitchen to live into your soul's purpose? These are questions you have to ask yourself. And if not, what's going to happen, I believe, is that money is going to shift and you will potentially lose a lot of it. Your business will suffer, or you'll get kicked out of a job you're in. But just trust that this is directing you to your soul's truth, to your soul's longing. So I do believe that. I do think that we also, as a collective, we've already been seeing this, kind of started off in 2020. And I think it's been happening every single year since then. But I think it's going to get even more blaring, is that we're going to have this way of seeing life differently than some of the people we love. So, for example, we saw it a little bit with COVID. We saw it a lot in the political arena, but we're going to see it even more in other arenas. They're going to be even more extreme. For example, let's just say there's a political figure or even just a well-known figure that's on the news or out in the kind of front-facing limelight. You may have one perception of that person, and your best friend could have a completely different perception. And you're going to be like, how do you see it that way when I see it this way? How is this even possible? Are we on the same planet? Are we looking at the same person? Are we hearing the same person? You're going to experience more and more of that, where you're going to be like, wow, how is this person experiencing reality this way? And I'm experiencing reality this way. You might even be hanging out with people that you normally hang out with, and they think life is really great and magical and things are getting easier and life is getting more beautiful. And then there's others that are like, what do you mean? This is like devastating what's going on with the world. This is horrendous. People are going to be having a different world experience. And this is going to get even more activated in 2026, where you're like actually thinking that maybe these people you're with are in a different world than you, or experiencing a full different perception than you. It kind of reminds me of two siblings being raised in the same home with the same parents, but both siblings in their adulthood say totally different things about their childhood. They're like, what do you mean mom was like that? That was not my experience of mom. What do you mean? Like, I didn't see it this way about dad and the house we lived in and the town we lived in. It's kind of like that. It's that humans are going to be coexisting, but potentially in different worlds, to say the least. And when I'll add to that, the reason is because we are creating the world that we see from within ourselves. Let me say that again, because it's so important. We are creating the world we see from within based off what we believe internally. The external world will reflect that. So what does that say to me? I believe that statement full-heartedly. That means if I don't like what I see externally, I go inward to excavate my morning routine. How can I shift my internal landscape so that my external landscape matches it? How can I make my internal landscape, my internal thoughts, my internal belief systems more beautiful, more potent, more magnetizing, more abundant, more true in relationship? How can I shift that internal frequency so that I'm shifting my external receiving of the output I'm seeing externally? Does that make sense? So it doesn't mean that hard things aren't going to happen, but we look at them as feedback. Okay, where can I shift that? Where can I accept that? Where can I go, okay, what do I need to learn from that? And then shift. You are the shift. Nothing is shifting outside of you. You are shifting it all internally. Does that make sense? Some of you are not shifting. That's why you see the same scene over and over again. Some of you are taking on fear more and more. Therefore, you're going to see more fear-based things going on around you. We're going up a hill. It feels like what we're talking about. But yes, this is what's going to be going on. And you're going to start to see this. You're going to start hearing about it more scientifically than ever before, and understand that it's the internal landscape that's creating your external awareness. What you're seeing with your eyes all started internally first. So it's a time to really get clear on what do you truly desire. It's a time to really get into the frequency every single day of joy, of love, of peace, of pulling back power. It's a time also to be in more stillness. What do I mean by that? I don't mean sitting on the couch and scrolling. I mean getting out in nature and not listening to any technology. Getting out in nature and listening to the wind, listening to the animals, listening to your own breath, asking questions to spirit so that you can really get the truth. Because with the advancements of AI, we're not even going to know what's true on any media platform anymore. It's going to look so real that we're not even going to know. Even the beautiful things, even the AI things of whales coming and saving a dog may not have happened. Even the beautiful things. So just remember that your internal world is creating your external world. So if you want to see whales saving dogs on your social, great, that's the reality you can live in. But be careful when it starts to show all these other things that create fear. Really be aware of it. Is this true? Do I need to feed into this fear-based thought? And really see where you can shift the frequency of love. Can you stay present in what's in front of you versus getting caught up in the storyline that's being fed to you? That's why stillness and turning off media is going to be paramount. I also think it's going to be paramount that you keep the news off, that you do not listen to your CNN, to your Fox, to the news. I believe this is only going to get ramped up louder and louder and create more division and more fear. It already was set up for that, but it's going to get amplified. This is a time for you to really lean into your faith, really lean into groundedness and time in nature and time communing with a higher power. Also, what's also going to be happening is the questioning of things that you thought you believed your whole life. this is going to be dysregulating for a lot of people because you may have had a strong belief about certain things your whole life. And now you might see something that makes you go, wow, that dismantles it all for me. This is how it's been for me a little bit with the religion I grew up in. I grew up in a religion where I believed it so fully. I believed it because I was taught to believe it. And I studied it like I believed it. And I went to church on Wednesday nights and on 3 hours on Sunday. And I went as a high schooler every single morning before school even started. So I believed all the things I was being taught. And then over time, I started seeing the truth. And it really confused me. It really rattled me because I was the girl that professed my love for that religion. I was the girl that followed every rule of that religion, even when I was a teenager, even when it wasn't convenient. And to have it be shattered was difficult. And I think some of you are going to experience that in different realms. It might be someone you really thought was one person and you'll see another side to them. It might be that you find out about a job or a business that's actually corrupt. It will show up in politics, I promise you. It will show up in people, I promise you that. Or you thought one thing, and maybe even religion and spiritual beliefs, where you're like, whoa, I really believed that, and I'm seeing something completely different. And all I would say to this is keep your heart open, keep your eyes open, and really having your morning practice is going to help you know how to navigate that. How do you decipher what's true and what's not? And also help you get grounded so that you can handle the shift and the change and be brave enough to take on a new belief. It's not easy, especially if you've held onto a belief for years about someone or something, and then it gets rattled, right? So just leaning and trusting in that. I do think this will be a year where some people experience a lot of abundance. I'm talking abundance in jobs, money, relationships, health. Like, I believe there's going to be profound healings that happen that you're like, oh my gosh, I don't need that surgery anymore. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that was healed so easily and quickly. I can't believe how quick this money came in. I think for some of you, that is going to be the reality. For others, it is also going to be the reality of losing a lot of money and really having to cut back on your expenses, cut back on the story that you let everyone believe about you around how much money you wanted people to think you made. You're going to have to sell things. You're going to have to reprioritize what really matters. What matters is your relationships, not the bags you have, the cars you drive, or the home you live in. Those things are nice. But I do believe sometimes when they're taken away or you have this upset, it builds character for what really matters, so you can build wealth on top of that character. But if you're building wealth on this idea of wanting to be seen or included, it's a rocky ground to be on. So really trusting either evolution for you. I believe those who have this internal knowing of who they are without having any wealth tied to it are going to extremely become very wealthy and have a lot of abundance in their life right now. I think it's going to just catapult it. But if you haven't done that work, it's going to get a little dicey. But the good news is it's going to help you get to that point. You're going to discover who your real friends are. You're going to discover that your soul is what matters and your relationship to a higher power is what matters. And then you can build your wealth from that place of knowingness. What else would I tell you? Animals. I think there's going to be a lot more animal engagement. I think we're going to have a lot more telepathy with animals. We're going to have a lot more animals doing strange things in relation to communicating with humans and humans in relation with animals, even more and more. We'll hear more about that. I believe also we're going to have different hearings about, what do we want to call it? Aliens, extraterrestrials. We've already been hearing about it. I think there's going to be more and more stories towards the end of 2026. More stories, more experiences that people are sharing. And I also think on the opposite side of that, there will be forces that are going to try to make you scared of those things. And I just want to be a voice that you don't need to be afraid, that there's nothing to be afraid of. They've always been here. If anything was going to happen that wasn't good, it would have already happened. So just keep your heart open, stay in the frequency of love, and just be open to the miracles that are possible in that realm. I think that's it. I'm curious what you are all feeling, what you're transpiring through. I do want to just kind of be a voice of love for a moment, that if you went through the earth-shaking time, say thank you to yourself for shaking it up, shaking it out, so that you could get to the truth of your character. Because this is what I do believe. We all came here with this feeling of wanting to juice this life, wanting to have joy, wanting to experience the threshold of human relationship and dreams and experiencing life to the fullest. And if you're kind of playing into an illusion, that illusion might be getting dismantled. And I say congratulations, so that you can fully experience what you came here to experience, so that you can fully be in your heart, so you can fully dismantle any of the BS that really wasn't meant for you in the long run, so that you can start to embody what is truly meant for you, from relationships to money to your impact to your health and your well-being and your peace of mind and your mental, all of it. So I'm wrapping up in so much love on this journey. Thank you for being a part of all the seasons. Welcome to season 3. I can't even believe I'm saying that. Like I said, this is kind of weird, but here we are. I'm not going to argue with my team. Welcome to season 3. I promise you, I've already interviewed so many incredible astrologers, incredible healers, incredible people on the show that will be coming down the pipeline all in January and February, plus my journey that I'm going to be sharing around my own health and really learning how to regulate the nervous system and really look at these pain points in our bodies and figuring out, did our parents also experience them? Our mother, our father, our grandparent, grandma, did they have the same ailment? And how do we heal it? Because we're healing something deeper. We're healing the metaphysical generational line. And that is going to be my experiment all of January. I'm going to take you on the ride. I'm only going to be sharing kind of what I'm doing. And then maybe by February, March, I'll have a whole system for you so you can do it on your own and heal yourself by clearing any of the emotional things you might be holding on from your generational lines. I love you. That's what I'm going to be working on. I want to hear from each one of you. And thank you for sharing this episode out. Thanks for leaving your comment. Thank you for following. Thank you for rating. And let's do this. Let's be raw and real together. Season 3. Let's open our hearts even more to what's possible, the infinite potentiality that lies for each one of us. I believe in you. You are worthy and you are a creator. So let's create something beautiful together. Love you guys.